All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about stereotypes and perception, so I want to get a few stereotypes out of the way that might be running in your head about me, right? Okay, so first of all, I don't know karate or any of the martial arts. Our and my family have never owned a laundromat. Never been involved in the restaurant business. Ladies, I can't do your nails for you. Guys, I can't tailor your clothes. We don't have a ping pong table at home. But I'm very good at math and I own a lot of cameras. Now, as I share some of those Asian stereotypes and mental models with you and you have a humorous reaction, many of you, when you have a reaction of any sort to the Asian stereotypes that I bring up, what's one simple thing that tells me about you? In fact, what's one simple thing that tells you about you? That you have the mental models in your head. The question becomes then, if you're studying cognitive psychology, is this: how did those things get there? How did those mental models get there? Did anyone of you log on to Amazon.com one evening and order the Asian Stereotype Guidebook for Dummies? Wait for it to arrive at your home and start studying Asian stereotypes for hours on end as if you were cramming for an exam? How many of you had to do that to get those Asian stereotypes in your head? See, none of us do. I have the same ones you do. All we have to do is live in an environment that gives us limited, narrow messages about people that we call Asians. Then our brain absorbs those messages and creates mental models for us. Our brain absorbs those messages in the same way that we absorb lyrics of a song. How many of you know words to songs in here? I think everybody does, right? Everybody does. Now think about the songs that you know words to, right? How do you get those words in your head? How did you get those words in your head? By listening to them the songs over and over and over, right? Now, think about back to the times that you listened to those songs. Did you have to pay attention every single time you listened to the song to get those words in your head? No, they just play in the background. Your brain grabs them and puts them there for you. Well, that's how our brain creates mental models and stereotypes for us, out of our awareness. Out of our awareness. Did anyone of you have, when you listen to a song, have to say, oh, I hope I remember those words. I hope I remember, ooh, 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 staying alive. Right? You're probably hoping you don't remember those words. All right, so we get a lot of these things, mental models and stereotypes in your head, and they impact our behavior. How many of you have heard people say, I don't have a precious bone in my body. I don't have any biases. Well, the next time you hear people say those things, you can tell them, you really don't know how the human brain works, do you? See, our brain is designed to create mental models, cognitive categories, and then thus stereotypes. It's designed to do that. Why does our brain create mental models for us? Safety, and how so? You're right. Well, mental models if our brain can create mental models, then it uses the mental models to make quick predictions about things. So make quick predictions without putting a lot of cognitive energy into do it. So our brain's always trying to conserve energy. So if it can create a mental model, it can make a quick prediction. Now here's the deal though. The ability to create mental models does not guarantee that we'll create accurate ones. The ability to make predictions does not guarantee that we'll make accurate predictions. It's based on the type of information you have in your head. So we can easily make mistakes. We can easily make mistakes. Now, I'll talk a little bit about culture. Culture, we were talking, Deborah and I were talking about northern and southern culture today, and how maybe it's a little different in the north and the south. You know, you're down here, people, everybody's nice, and they say honey to you, sweetie, and all that stuff. And in the north, it's like, right? So culture is very powerful. Culture tells us, culture guides our behavior, even outside of our awareness. We don't know what culture guides our behavior. It's very powerful, right? Culture tells us when late is. Does that make sense? In many parts of North America, if you get an invitation to a party and the invitation says party begins at 7, when should you arrive to be approximately on time? Well, 7 plus or minus 30 minutes. In the South, it's a little longer than that, right? Okay. Right? Now, if you go to Argentina, what, Pastor Gomez? Argentina? If you get an invitation to a party in Argentina and it says party begins at 7, and you arrive at 7, what are you doing? You're hoping to set up for the party. You're way too early, right? Yeah. I go to a predominantly white Christian church in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Okay, so here's the culture at our church. On Sunday mornings, this is my predominantly white Christian church. On Sunday mornings, the Holy Spirit comes for exactly 1 hour. About to leave because everybody's going like this. Everybody going. I gave that example at a conference in Atlanta, and an African American gentleman stood up and he said, "Steve, it's very different in my church." And I go, "What church do you go to?" And he named out some Southern Baptist church. And I said, "So how long does the Holy Spirit stay at your church?" And he goes, "All damn day." Is very powerful. Culture can guide our behavior. Culture tells us who the insiders are and who the outsiders are. I talk a lot about insiders and outsiders with organizations because here it comes. With respect to human behavior, we human beings generally treat insiders better than outsiders. We give the benefit of the doubt to the insider and look skeptically upon the outsider, right? So, I got my homies back, but I don't got the back of a stranger. I look out for my homie, my friend. I don't look back out for the stranger. It's not good to be an outsider. Let's talk about insiders and outsiders just a little bit. In this way, handedness. How many of you are lefties in this room? How many of you are lefties? Raise your hand if you're lefty. There's like 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 people. Okay. Now, righties in here, I'm just going to talk to the lefties right now. So just listen in. Lefties, and let me, before I ask the lefties questions, let me ask everyone a question. What if I said to you that we live in a world that's privileged for right-handers? It's a right-hander privileged world. Would you agree with that? Okay. And I think what you're agreeing with is that the world that we live in is more easily navigated if you're a right-hander. Things are much easier for you, okay? So now let me talk to the lefties. Lefties in this room, and I'm just talking to you, so lefties just respond. Growing up and even today, are you well aware, do you run into things on a daily basis, regular basis, that tell you that you live in a right-hander's world? Yeah, so the lefties are saying, yeah, tell us righties some of the things that you run into, that you encounter that tell you that this world was built for righties and not for you. Scissors, tools, spiral notebooks, desks. That what? Coffee? Oh, coffee mugs. Yeah. Credit card swiping machines. Right? Okay, so I don't have much time, but it's suffice it to say, if I had a panel of lefties up here, and I asked them to tell us all the things that they run into that tell them that they live in a right-hander's world, do you think they could tell us a lot of things? Right? So let's suffice it to say this. Lefties are well aware that they live in a right-hander's world. And they have to make adjustments. They are the outsiders here. They know what it's like to be the outsider. They know what it's like to live in a world that's not built for them. They see it all the time. There's empirical evidence that tells them that. Now, I'm going to ask the righties. Righties here, do we ever walk around going, yeah, this world is built for me. It's a right-hander's world. Do we ever do that? Do we even recognize it? No. And here's my point. When the environment is built for you and you're very comfortable in it, you often don't recognize how it's built for you. It's not a neutral environment. That is biased for you. And when you don't recognize how it's built for you, you also don't recognize how it's not built for other people. I use that example, kind of what we might call a very simple, benign example of handedness. But understand that concept. The concepts that we talk about where often if we live in an environment that's built for us, we don't understand how it's not built for other people. Take that concept to the idea of white privilege or male privilege. In some communities, Republican privilege. In some communities, Christian privilege. Right? It doesn't mean that we're bad people when we're insiders. It just means that we have to be a little more mindful of how the environment makes it so much easier for us and how it can be different for somebody else. When you're an outsider, your brain has to work a lot harder. So we see this in brain fMRI scans. Your brain has to spend a lot of resources when you're an outsider. And so what happens is if you're in an unfamiliar environment, your brain, there's areas of your brain that light up, okay? That light up. And what we can see from a brain scan is that there's a lot of glucose being sent there, energy is being used there, right? In unfamiliar environments. Now, if you encounter that environment over and over and over again, what happens is that area of the brain that lights up, it's a lot smaller, right? So if you're an outsider, you're using lots of your energy. Lots of your energy to navigate a world that's not built for you. Right? And it's real energy. Cognitive energy is real energy, not fake energy. When synapses fire, when neurons go online, they take energy. As an example, just to make this clear, how many of you have ever gone to work, done nothing really physical all day, came home completely exhausted? Yeah. Thinking requires lots of energy. How many of you recognize that you will get a headache if you don't eat for a very long time? Yeah, it's your brain calling out for glucose. So your brain uses lots of energy, and when you're an outsider, it uses so much more. That's why many of us in this room have heard this statement before. You got to work twice as hard to get just as far. It's tough being an outsider. I'll talk about that a little bit more as I talk about my story. Okay? Let me finish my time with my story and why I do this work to make it. You know, we've had fun. We've learned some things about the brain and human behavior, but let me get to the crux of why I do this work, and I hope why you do the work as well, and what these awards are for. I came to the United States in 1970 when I was 5 years old. In that year, my mom married an American serviceman in Vietnam, not necessarily because she loved him, but so she could bring me to the United States and give me a chance at life. Recognize I didn't say a chance at a life. I said a chance at life, to live another day, because we were in the midst of a war and you could die at any given moment. So she makes that decision to take me to the United States. But in making that decision, she simultaneously makes the decision to leave her whole family behind. To leave her mom and dad, 5 brothers and sisters, many aunts, many uncles, many cousins. She had to leave them behind. That pained her a great deal. Because if you know anything about Vietnamese culture, you know this. Family means everything. You are nothing without your family. If you were to meet me in Vietnam, you were to see me in Vietnam, and you came up to me and you asked, "Who are you?" My traditional response would be, "I am the son of. I am the brother of." You would know me through my family ties. I would never say, "I am Steve," or "I am Nam." That's my Vietnamese name. I would not put myself, the individual, ahead of the family. That's why in Asian communities we put our family names first and our individual names second. You can tell a little bit about the culture. So it pains her a great deal to leave her family behind, and to offset some of that pain and to give me some hope as we're flying from Saigon to LA. My mom tried to teach me some things about this new land that we were going to called the United States of America. She tried to teach me some things that she had learned as she was growing up as a little child in South Vietnam. Things, ideas and concepts embedded in words that we all know. Words like, we hold these truths to be self-evident. That all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their creators with certain unalienable rights, and among those rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And recognize this, when Jefferson wrote the words pursuit of happiness, in Jeffersonian times, happiness meant community happiness, not individual happiness. What did you do for the community? For the beloved community.